Way to go today. I'm so proud of you. You've been doing a great job. Now let's look together at social studies. Now yesterday, if you can remember, we talked about urban, suburban, and rural. Now we're going to talk about them again today, and I'm going to ask you some questions about them. So let's think back to urban. Urban, we talked about that's where a lot of people live in the same place. There's lots of really big buildings. People don't usually have their own house. They live in apartments with other people. There's lots and lots and lots of places to go shopping. And because there's so many people that live in those apartments in such a small area, a lot of people will take the train or the bus or a subway, which is like a train that runs underground or above ground, but it's a specific kind. So they'll take a train, a bus, or a subway to get to work or even walk to work instead of having a car because there's not enough space for all those people to park a car. And so it costs a lot to have a car in a big urban city. So in an urban city, lots of people, they take a bus or a train. And one neat thing about urban cities, though, is that there's a lot of places for them to go shop. Because there's all those buildings, there's all those different shops that they get to go see. And it's a lot of fun in an urban area. Remember we said that's like Washington, D.C. that we've seen so many pictures of and videos of. It's also like New York City, just a really, really big area. Now, our second area that we're going to talk about, again, is the suburban area. This is the area like where you live. Maybe you live in a neighborhood. Maybe you live a little bit out. If you live in the country, then you live in rural. But most of you, I know, live in suburban areas. So that's where their neighbors, usually people drive cars because they have their own driveway and garage to park it in. But that is what suburban is. There's still neighbors and there's still shops. You can still drive to Walmart pretty close by. And you'd have a car. You could walk from house to house, though, and say hi to your neighbor. Now, our last one is what we've talked about, people that live in the country. It's called rural. Not very many people, not very many stores, and there's a lot of farms. So if you lived here in this house, you wouldn't be able to walk to see your neighbor because it's just trees. Rural areas is when you live a long ways away from the suburban and urban areas, and you usually live on land. Sometimes you have farm animals. That's what rural living is. So let's see if we can answer these questions together. Where would there be less traffic? Do you think urban, suburban, or rural? You got it. It would be rural. That's where there would be less traffic. Where would you have to drive to see your neighbor? Oh, very good. You said rural. That's right. When you live in the country, in the rural area. And where would you live if you were going to take a train? Where would you take a train? Don't let it trick you. You got it. Urban. Lots of people take trains and buses to get where they need to be in urban areas. And last, where would you go shopping? Where would it be fun to go shopping at? Like lots of shops. Also, urban. Very good. Oh, let's see if you can get one more. Where would you live and you'd probably have a car to drive? You're right. Suburban area. Way to go. Thanks for listening and paying attention. Awesome job.